Have you ever wished you could automate repetitive tasks in Excel? Well, VBA is your new best friend. Welcome back, everyone. What I'm about to share with you today is something really useful, and this is only a scratch of the surface of the VBA world. So, what exactly is VBA? Well, think of it as Excel's secret superpower. It's a programming language built into Microsoft Office that allows you to create custom commands and functions. With VBA, you can automate complex tasks, saving you hours of manual work. This hidden powerhouse in Excel is about to revolutionize how you tackle repetitive tasks, and I'm sure that after the video, you will add VBA as a powerful ally in your productivity arsenal. Enough introduction, let's get to it. Now I'm gonna show you how to create simple macros even if you don't know how to write the programming language. On the Developer tab, under the Code group, all the needed macro buttons are listed. If the Developer tab is not already enabled in your version of Excel, you can enable it by right-clicking on the ribbon, customize the ribbon, and you only need to check this. Now let's talk a little bit about these buttons and what they do. This is the Visual Basic Editor. You can press it, you will go to the Visual Basic Editor, or you can press the shortcut key Alt F11. This is the macro button, or you can run the macro by pressing Alt F8. And this is the record macro button. You can record from here, or you can press this record button from here. Now let's say you receive a file daily from the IT department and you need to perform some simple modification like changing the header style, increase of font size, change of font color, change of cell fill color, inserting a column, and perform some calculation in this column with a certain basic formula. So let's start recording the macro and perform the actions that we discussed. We're going to call this macro daily file. Gonna increase the row height to 30. Change the fill color to blue, change the font to white, make it bold, increase the font size to 20, and out of it. I forgot to add the column. I'm gonna add it now. Total sales is gonna be the unit price times the quantity sold. I have to warn you about one thing. The only downside of the macros is that when you click the button, there is no going back, there is no undo to the processed actions. So my advice to you is to always save a copy of the file before you play the macro. Now let's return the file to its original state as we received it from the IT department. Now let's test the macro to see how much time it's gonna take to do all the changes we do daily on this file. Amazing. 1 second. Do you remember I told you once you perform the changes or once you run the macro, there's no going back? The undo button is dimmed, and even if I press the Ctrl Z, nothing changes. What you have seen so far is an intro to VBA or macro. And the reason why I did this video is because a few days ago I was passing by one of my colleagues at the office and she was working on a massive spreadsheet. We're talking over 30 sheets in a single workbook. I tried to request something from her and she was like gazing at the screen, not hearing me, pushing those keyboard buttons as fast as she could. I checked her screen to see what she was doing and saw her protecting the worksheets one by one, and finally protected the workbook with a password so that her workbook becomes uneditable. It turned out she was sending a soft copy to the auditors and didn't want to allow anyone to change or manipulate her data, or change any of the workbook structure. So every time she needed to protect this workbook, she'd go through each sheet one by one, manually setting protection. It was tedious and time consuming, often taking her up to at least 10 minutes each time. So I decided to write a simple piece of code in the memory of her two nails. May they grow back in peace and not break into pieces after this. Yeah, you heard me right, as much as I heard her nails clapping on the keyboard. What I'm sure of is that she's gonna thank me for it on Monday. This code is about defining or declaring a password in advance in the VBA editor and looping through the whole workbook, sheet by sheet, to perform the protection. Now let's get on with it and write this code. I'm gonna open the VBA editor and I'm gonna name this code protect all sheets. First, I'm gonna declare a sheet name as sh, and then I'm gonna declare what my password is gonna be. And declare it as string so it could contain letters and numbers. And now I'm gonna define what my password is. I'm gonna name it sheet123. Here comes the fun part. For each sheet in active workbook dot worksheets, sheet.protect password equals my password. Loop through the next sheet, and then this is it. That's the simple piece of code of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lines. Now let's test this on our workbook. Here we have 3 sheets. Gonna make them 6. I'm gonna make copies of these sheets. And make another copy of this sheet. So I have a total of 9 sheets now. I'm gonna run the code. The sheet is still editable. So is this. So is this, and all their copies. So let's run the code. Protect all sheets. Run. I think we're done. First sheet, second sheet, third sheet. They are all protected now by the code that we declared. So if I need to unprotect any of these sheets, I have to go to the review tab, unprotect sheet, and write the code that I wrote, sheet 1, 2, 3, and the protection is gone. But how tedious would it be if I need to unprotect the sheets one by one? This is why we're gonna write another code, same as the above, but to unprotect all the sheets at once. So I'm gonna go again to the Visual Basic Editor, and on a new line I'm gonna write the new code unprotect all sheets. We can take all these info, paste them here since they are the same, and this line 2. Now here I protected the worksheets. Now I'm gonna unprotect the worksheets. So sh dot unprotect password equal my password. Now I'm gonna loop it to the next sheet. Let's test this code and see how it goes. They're still editable, uneditable, I'm sorry, and protected. Let's run the code unprotect all sheets. I think we're done. Yeah. So by writing this simple piece of code, we're able to protect and unprotect all the sheets at once. Now let's take it one step ahead. I'm gonna write a code to protect the workbook. So this code should be simple: active workbook dot protect password I'm gonna leave the password as it is. Sheet 123. Sheet should be in uppercase. Structure equal true. So I needed to maintain the structure of the workbook. Same goes for the unprotect. Active workbook. Basically that's it. I think I made a mistake here. Active. Let's write it in lowercase. Oh, it's gonna correct it. Active work. Okay, it's correct. Let's test it again. So here I can add a sheet or delete a sheet. So this little piece of code does something amazing. With just a click, it protects or unprotects every single sheet in your workbook. What used to take my colleague Rita 15 minutes now takes mere seconds. Imagine the time savings. If Rita uses this code once a day, that's 1.25 hours saved per week, or about 65 hours a year. That's like getting an extra 7 days of productivity. And the best part is, you don't need to be a coding expert to use this code. Once it's set up, anyone can run it with a simple button click. And if you ever needed to change the password, you just come to the Visual Basic Editor from here and just change the password here, 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 and ear. So whether you're dealing with sensitive data that needs protection or you just want to streamline your workflow, this VBA code has got you covered. It's a perfect example of how a little bit of VBA can make a big difference in your Excel life. Finally, if you need to save the macro or code in the specific workbook, you have to save the workbook as a macro-enabled workbook with extension .xlsm. F12, save as, not as Excel workbook, as Excel macro-enabled workbook. So for example, the macro that we did at first to make changes in the daily file, you can save it in the same file if you want. But this code, protect and unprotect, I advise you save it in your personal macro workbook. The personal macro workbook is a special Excel file that allows you to store and use macros across all your Excel workbooks. And here are the key points about it. It's designed to hold macros that you want to access regardless of which workbook you're currently using. Excel creates and stores this file in a specific folder on your computer, typically in your Excel startup folder. The file is named personal.xlsb by default. Any macro or VBA code stored in this workbook are automatically available in all your Excel sessions. It's usually hidden by default, so you won't see it listed among your open workbooks unless you unhide it, like so, and the View tab, unhide, personal. So here it is. If it doesn't exist, you can create it by recording a macro and choosing to store it in the personal macro workbook. You remember when we recorded the first macro? So when you're recording a macro, usually by default, it's stored in this workbook. If you want to store it and use it across all workbooks, you have to choose personal macro workbook. It's great for storing frequently used custom functions, macros for formatting, or any VBA code you use regularly across different workbooks. And what's the good thing about it, you can transfer your personal macro to another computer by copying this file. The personal macro workbook is essentially a way to create your own custom Excel environment with tools and functions you frequently use, available whenever you open Excel. Finally, and here's a bonus tip to make you stand out in the crowd. Instead of running your macros or code from the Developer tab or by using the shortcut Alt F8, you can create a custom tab on the ribbon and amaze your friends or colleagues with it. Let's see how it's done. First, you come to the ribbon and you click the Customize the ribbon. In this section, you create a new tab. I'm gonna call it Features Tools. So here it is. Now I'm gonna add macros that we created here. Again, customize the ribbon. In this section, you have to go to macros, and here are the macros saved on my computer. I'm gonna first add the daily file. It's here. Then I'm gonna add protect all sheets, unprotect all sheets, protect workbook, and unprotect workbook. Now their name is too tall. You can shorten them or rename them as you like. I'm gonna keep this one named as daily file. However, I can change the icon So the daily file, I'm gonna use this for it, and protect all sheets. I'm gonna rename it as protect sheets and choose this icon for it, unprotect all sheets. Then rename it to unprotect sheets. Gonna use this icon. Protect workbook and unprotect workbook. Gonna change this one to proper. So here they are, and by a click of a button, can protect sheets or unprotect sheets, protect workbook or unprotect workbook. So basically that was it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and don't forget to copy the code, give it a try, and let me know in the comments how much time it saves you. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more Excel tips and tricks. See you in the next video.